99% of data scientists never learn production deployments, and they don't understand how to use AWS, how to use services like EC2 servers, how to deploy applications, including that include or embed AI agents and integrate those into the apps. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, and that's what I'm going to share. So I'm actually going to pull a project off of my Clinic 7 from my new AI bootcamp that I'm getting ready to launch here on November 25th. It's a Tuesday at 2 p.m. I've got a launch workshop, so make sure you register for that. This is one of the projects that's in my new AI bootcamp, and it's Clinic 7. We're going to focus on what it takes to actually deploy AI apps. So here I have a time series forecasting app. It includes, this is an enterprise grade application deployment. And what does that mean? So what is an enterprise grade application deployment? That simply means that it's got authentication, it runs asynchronously, it is very performant when you have multiple people using it at the same time, and it scales well. It scales to teams of, say, 5 to 10 pretty well, okay? It's fairly inexpensive to operate. This is a generative AI project server that I built. It's just an EC2 server. I'll explain what that is here in a second. But all this does, it costs maybe like $10 a month or so for the organization to run it. Okay, so how does it work? You're going to put a user login. So I'm going to do mdancho and then add a password in. We click login, and this is what we call authentication. And then what it allows me to do is to utilize the application now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a few quick questions. We're going to use some demo data, which simulates me loading in some time series data for this forecasting agent. And then let me get the password real quick. All right, I'm going to enter the passcode so I can get my API key. It should say my OpenAI API key is found. Good. And now it's ready to help me. Okay. All right, so let's ask some questions. What tables exist? And what's happening behind the scenes? It's answering the question, it's thinking. Behind the scenes, this generative AI project server is running. And there I've got the table that exists. That's this uploaded data, and that matches what we're seeing here. We can ask some questions like aggregate the sales by month for each food item. So this would be like a time series operation, which is what this application that's deployed is doing. And it can then answer that question for me. It's going to ping this server that's running in the cloud. And then it's going to be providing the results here in just a second. All right, and there we go. So now I have the forecast for every product in this database. So this database for uploaded data, it has these different food items in here, and I can see I've got new forecasts that were created with a model. And then I can download the data, I can examine the data, we can see these are the forecast results. This is the stuff that the company actually wants. They want to know what the prediction is, they want to know what the confidence intervals are, and they want to be able to download it to their downloads for. Okay, so how do we get this thing deployed? That's the big question that we need to answer here. So what skills do you need to learn? Well, I'm going to talk a lot about this in my AI launch workshop that is on November 25th. It's a Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Highly recommend that you register for it. But this is the behind the scenes. So we've got AWS open. AWS is AWS Cloud. It's a cloud tool run by Amazon. And this basically simulates everything that we need to do in order to be able to do what's called deployment, which means take our apps from our local development and put it into tools like Docker containers and then inside of that run on this cloud software. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about EC2. We've got other services like Amazon Bedrock and S3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on EC2. This is where we actually build the servers. Okay, so this is the server that I have running, and if I right click it and if I connect to it, I'm just going to connect here. And this pulls up an interactive terminal where I can like inspect what's going on with the server. And this is where we actually upload Docker containers and so on. So if I do Docker ls, let's do Docker -- help. And if we wanted to examine like Docker compose, we can do Docker or Docker containers. So Docker container is one. So we can do Docker container ls. And these are the Docker containers that I currently have running. So this is all orchestrated by this thing called Docker Compose. You can see here, it's kind of tough to read. I have a time series app or a Streamlit app that's running. I have an Nginx proxy server. And then I also have, there should be a third one here, and I'm not seeing it, but it might be running behind the scenes. It's a SSL certificate. But the big one here is that we've got this Streamlit app running, okay? So how did I get this onto this EC2 server so that way we can run it, we can interact with the app, we can download the CSV, we can ask new questions and do different forecasts on demand. Well, it all starts locally. So we have to be able to build this application locally. And this is what we do in Clinic 7 in my new AI bootcamp. Clinic 7 is all about building a enterprise grade quality application that has AI agents in it. Okay, so the AI app that we're going to build in Clinic 7 is this one right here. And actually it's going to be, let me open this up a little bit. It's going to be, this is the enterprise grade deployment. This is the job portfolio deployment. So the portfolio deployment, it's a little bit more simplified. It just doesn't have the authentication and all of that stuff. And we can put that in our job portfolio. And I show you how in Clinic 7 to do that. But in Clinic 7, I also walk you through my enterprise grade deployment process. And we use this application here, okay? So I actually have it opened up right here. It's not a super crazy app. One of the big things that you'll want to learn is async IO. That's something that's very important for when we build production quality apps that are going to have teams of multiple people using them. So async IO is very important. And what we're mainly going to be using is this agent here, this asynchronous forecast teams agent. So this is the AI component where we actually have a forecasting agents in here. We've got lots of team members. This is actually a pretty challenging app to build, but we walk through it in the course, of course, and we simplify everything. So there's a SQL agent involved. There is a forecasting agent involved, and then I believe a plotting or a charting agent. Yeah, a charting agent involved, and we roll that up into an AI team, okay? Again, with async IO. All right, so what tools and technologies? So this will get the app running on your local computer, but in order to go from running an application on my local computer to being able to run it in the cloud in production, there's some other tools and technologies that we need to learn. Mainly Docker, Docker Compose, and another software called Nginx. So what I do in this clinic, in Clinic 7, is I show you how to then not only build the app, but how to move it into the cloud. First by creating what's called a Docker container. We do that using a Docker file, and this is going to read the requirements for the app. It's going to copy the app. It's going to run the app on a specific server, okay? So this is going to be a server port. Then what I do is I show you how to then migrate that Docker container that you've just built into an orchestrated container. This is using this thing called Docker Compose, where we've got multiple services, an app service, an Nginx service, and then the certbot service. So these three services. And that actually is what we have running on my EC2 server over here. Okay. So once you learn how to do that, the next thing what we do is we build the Docker container. So we're going to build this Streamlit app container. We can even run the container locally. So if we want to run this container, we can start the container. We can inspect the container's files, see what's in the app folder, check out the actual Streamlit app that we're going to deploy, which is this one right here. I can open it if I want, and I can inspect it. And I can also see if I want to, this will be running on it should be running on our locally right now. As soon as I fire up this container, what it's going to do is it's going to run on port 8501. So if I go to localhost 8501, the app is now running. Okay. All right. So this is the time series forecasting app. If I log out, it's got the authentication and everything in here. Okay. So this is just running locally. So next, what we want to do, once we've got a Docker container that kind of wraps everything up, what I do is we'll stop that container, and you see how this local host is killed now. So I've stopped the container. Next, what we want to do is we want to publish this container. We'll use a tool called Docker Hub, and then from there, what we'll do is we'll pull the container onto our EC2 server. Okay. So that's what allows us to fire up this project server and then get our application here running on AWS. This is the app that's running on AWS. As you can see, it's a custom URL. I teach you how to do that with Nginx using a reverse proxy. I also teach you how to use HTTPS, which is necessary for security. Anytime that you have people entering usernames and passwords, you need to have HTTPS. And then how to deploy that, of course, on EC2 using your generative AI project server. All right, so that is what I wanted to cover here. That is a little bit of insights into the AI deployment process, how you take your AI apps and you put them onto, into the cloud so that way other people can use them. So if you want to learn more about that, I have a live course launch event, and it's a workshop. We've got a ton of value prepared for you if you want to learn how to get a AI data scientist job in 2026. It's going to be perfect for you. You don't need to know data science. You don't need to know AI. You don't need to know all this crazy deployment stuff. Just show up, learn, and it's on November 25th at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's a Tuesday. It's going to be awesome. Your mind's going to be blown. If you like what we're talking about here, AI apps, deployment, how to build apps from templates, how to build any sort of like MCP servers, how to deploy applications on AWS Cloud. We're going to be talking a lot about all of that stuff, but specifically focus on those who want to learn this stuff so you can get an AI data science, a generative AI data science job in 2026. So show up. It's Tuesday, November 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern. I will see you there. All right. See you soon. Bye.